Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm PTR. As you can see in the chat right there, and from the hero we're playing Varian, and we are going to be playing Tank Varian in this particular game. So yeah, I have the other two versions of Varian up on the channel if you want to check those out. We have the two-handed version and then the dual-wield version. Both of them are damage based, they're assassin based, whereas we're going for basically the warrior based version of him. In case you don't know, he's got 3 heroics, and each heroic that you pick up gives him a massive change to his passive stats, which basically sorts him into a given role. For example, in the dual wield one, it gives you 100% more attack speed, refreshes your trait way more often, giving you a lot more damage, but it reduces how hard you hit with your normal attacks by a little bit. The one we're going for in this game is the tank version, and that's going to give us 50% increased max health, and will also give us the ability to taunt an enemy, which is sort of like a melee range point and click to hack a tongue. I think is a good way of kind of understanding how that's going to work. Of course, you'll see it once we get a bit further into the game. In this game, by the way, I picked up the Lion's Maw. I believe it's called Talent at level 1, which is a stacking talent for our Q. There's our Q ability right there. It is a very fast, very narrow, long range skill shot. It does damage, and it also slows targets that we hit by a little bit. The talent I picked up is going to stack up to 120 bonus damage, 4 damage per hit, so we stack it 30 times. When we hit 30 stacks, we'll have a total of 120 bonus damage on it. It will also make the slow more powerful and make the slow last half a second longer, so kind of a nice little talent right there. I'm actually thinking with the level 1 stuff that this Q talent I've picked up will probably work best with the dual wielding build, right? Because the other 2 talents don't synergize that well with the dual wielding build. One of them gives you more attack damage, but with dual wielding it reduces your attack damage. And then one of them refreshes your heroic strikes really quickly, but basically called Overpower, and that's the one I actually think will work well with the tank thing. Basically what that does is whenever we use our parry, which is our W, which makes us deflect all basic attacks and take no damage from them for 1.25 seconds while it's active. We have 2 charges on a 10-second cooldown. That's our big defensive ability right there. Whenever we deflect something with that, it will refresh our heroic strike. You can see that's our trait, which is glowing right now. Whenever we land a basic attack, it will trigger that and do a big chunk of bonus damage, but it has an 18-second cooldown. However, basic attacks do lower that by 2 seconds. But yeah, basically the talent you can grab at level 1 for that the parry ability will instantly refresh your heroic strike once per cast of parry if you parry a hero's basic attack. So I think that will work really well with the tank spec and make you do basically a whole chunk of bonus damage. Because you'll be able to activate that really easily and get off multiple bonus heroic strikes during the team fight. Obviously this Q talent is very good. The Q talent will work well with everyone, I think. Then with the two-handed build, seeing as you're getting a whole bunch of bonus attack damage, well, that trait, the talent at level 1, the High King's Quest, which gives you bonus attack damage, ought to work pretty well with that. So those are just a few thoughts regarding level 1 talents. At level 4, I think this is quite important as well. This is probably your second most important talent tier after your heroics, actually, for how Varian works. You can choose to get the shield wall talent, which you can actually see the enemy Varian has it in this game, which gives you protected whenever you activate your parry ability. One of the things that's quite interesting about it is that it's kind of easy to miss when people have activated parry. And people will hit you when parry is turned on, especially in sort of the chaos of the PTR, where everyone is playing like melee assassins and melee warriors and stuff, and assassin type Karazim builds. It's kind of crazy, so it can be hard to see the parry thing. It's much easier to see the big protected joke. So yeah, that's something kind of interesting to note about that. But yeah, you pick up shield wall to protect yourself from ability damage. Now the other option is Warbringer. As you see, that makes charge stun your target for 1 second. By default, our charge, by the way, it's our E ability. It's a short gap closer, point and click, which is really nice. By default, it does a little bit of damage and then does a 75% slow for 1 second. This Warbringer talent makes that a stun for 1 second instead, so that's really nice. And also reduces the cooldown by 10 seconds. So that makes it a 6-second cooldown, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna grab the Live by the Sword ability here, talent at level 7, which will make our parry last longer. And would also reduce the cooldown of parry if you get hit by basic attacks. I figured we're going up against like a damage, like all of them are basic attacks, so this seems like a really good ability to pick up. It's gonna hopefully generate a lot of value, really help us to prevent a lot of the damage that basically all of their heroes are able to do with those basic attacks, make us much tankier. But yeah, this Warbringer talent is huge at level 4. Getting a stun every 6 seconds in the teamfight, a 1 second point and click stun every 6 seconds in the teamfight is massively impactful. And there's going to be a huge difference between being a Varian that applies a 1 second slow every 16 seconds and a Varian that applies a 1 second stun every 6 seconds. I really think that Warbringer is the one you want to grab with this tank build. In fact, I'd say it's probably actually going to be essential. Like, sure, it's nice to have the protected, but you're kind of doubling down on your survivability, you know what I mean? It's like, our heroic is going to give us 50% max health bonus. Our heroic is already going to generate for us a whole ton of survivability. We're going to be pretty difficult to kill. The downside is that we're not going to do anywhere near as much damage as the other specs. So what sort of value do we play to the team fight? The problem with picking up Shield Wall is that, well, you might just become a very easy target to ignore because you're not really going to do very much. And if you just ignore the Varian with the Shield Wall and the Taunt heroic, yeah, you're going to be able to get a lot of value out of that. So I am thinking that the Warbringer just seems really, really good for helping you fulfill that warrior role. So we parry a whole bunch of stuff from there. And there you go, we're going to walk away. So you get hit by that. pop the parry kind of uselessly right there, not actually achieving anything. Which, one of the things you'll have noticed me trying to do in this, by the way, is also to stack up our quests as much as possible. Which is we need to hit heroes with our Q. There we go. This is pretty nice, actually. We catch the enemy Varian inside the turret range, and it does a bunch of bonus damage, which is pretty sweet. One of the interesting things about Tank Varian that I'm trying to work out here is how he's going to fit into a team comp. We're actually running him with stitches in this game, so we already have a tank. So that's fine. I decided to run it anyway. I was curious to see how it would work. And then obviously it was the PTR. It was being pretty dodgy last night, so it was hard to get on for games. As you see, like, I have to record this in post commentary as opposed to live because it was so late that, you know, just for the sake of everyone else in the house, I couldn't stay on and do more. But yeah, he's going to be a pretty bad solo laner, it looks like. Like, his wave clear seems pretty dodgy. He doesn't have any self-sustain until level 7. Yeah, there's Taunt, by the way. Pretty cool. You can see we have a shield now, which is nice. So yeah, I'm interested. He's not going to work very well as in that sort of the bruiser melee assassin role, where oftentimes at the moment in the current meta that is very much the one that goes towards, you know, the solo laner. The solo laner is very often your sort of your melee assassin or your second warrior. You know, think of things like Thrall, like Dahaka, like Chen, like Alarak. All the best solo laners right now are all in that sort of the second warrior slot, the bruiser slot, the melee assassin slot. So that's where Varian would, in theory, be fitting in the current meta in terms of your team comp. However, he doesn't seem like he will be very good at solo laning. That's my initial impression. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it works out. Now, maybe he will turn out to be good. I don't know. I don't think so, though. Yeah, there's Taunt, by the way. So 50% increased attack speed, 25% reduced... 25% reduced attack speed, 50% bonus max health. And then we have a Taunt, which is a 20-second cooldown. It's basically melee range. It's a tiny range. There it is right there. It forces an enemy to attack you for 1.25 seconds. Again, like I said, it's very much like a Dahaka tongue, except it's point and click with shorter range. And yeah, I mean, that's one of the interesting things about Varian, is with this particular build that I've gone with, we have like a bunch of point and click CC. Should have picked up that regen globe. Oops. I was kind of testing out the stutter stepping. Now that the attack speed is slower, you have obviously a very different feel to how he stutter steps when you move to that slower attack speed. I'm going to finish off the siege camp, then probably start rotating away to group up with the teammates. As you can see, very narrow queue, missed it completely, which is pretty bad. It takes us a while down to clear out this minion wave. But yeah, you should obviously be looking to hit your queue through the minion wave. That's the ideal thing right there. And yeah, that will get you a lot of value. Hit all the minions as they're in a line running towards you. Level 13 is a huge deal as well. Level 13 we get banners. You have 3 options with your banners. They all have a 45-second cooldown. They all last for 12 seconds. You can see they can also be attacked and destroyed. This is the banner of Ironforge. What the banner of Ironforge does is give all your allies within the radius resistant, reducing the damage they take by 25%. The banner of Stormwind gives 25% movement speed, and the banner of Dalaran gives 20% ability power. So each of those banners is extremely powerful. I expect to see an awful lot of use out of all of them. On the PTR, it's pretty much only Banner of Ironforge that's being used. That's just because everyone is like a melee assassin or melee warrior. So, you know, we don't really need to give them ability power that much because they're mostly... A lot of the damage is just thumping each other with basic attacks. You don't need to give them move speed that much because we're all on top of each other just thumping each other as melee heroes. The resistant one is just the best one on PTR right now. Obviously, when we get into other team compositions, the other banners could be much more useful and much more applicable. It's going to be really interesting to see how those work out, actually. Very excited to see that. And yeah, here we go. It's pretty cool. I love the Varian's design. It's really interesting. Like I said, I feel like the level 1s are kind of a little bit skewed towards each of the heroics, but only a little bit. I think even if you like, that's just to get the maximum efficiency out of them. They're still good apart from that. This is actually a huge deal. Do you see that? Thrall's Earthquake dismounts you now because it does a little bit of damage. And also, Thrall's using Earthquake. I went onto the Thrall, kind of figured that they would have the Varian locked down. Looks like Varian actually escapes. We pick up the kill on the Thrall though, so that's good. The enemy Varian is a tank Varian as well, in case we didn't see that. So yeah, you can see just how impactful that level 4 Warbringer talent is being. It's such a huge choice. Such a huge choice. There we go. Get another stun in. And we have our Q to finish him off. There we go. Boom, the Q goes through. Varian definitely struggles a little bit against the Illidan. Or he'll struggle a little bit against heroes with blinds as well, because they can deny the value of Heroic Strike, his trait. That bonus attack damage, if you miss your basic attack, you know, when Illidan pops evasion, for example, you completely lose out on the value of that Heroic Strike, which does really suck. But yeah, obviously, you can see one of the combos we can obviously think of, right, is that Overpower talent at level 1, where our W, our parry, when we parry a basic attack, will refresh Heroic Strike. So, and then we've got Taunt, which forces people to attack us. So, pretty interesting combo to pull off with that would be to, you know, hit someone with a basic attack, taunt them, so the basic attack applies Heroic Strike, so you clock them with a Heroic Strike, taunt them, pop your W, reactivates Heroic Strike, you whack them again, and that's a big chunk of damage. Pretty nice, all things considered. You could also get the level 7 one I got, the Live by the Sword, which reduces the cooldown of your parry whenever you get hit. That's obviously going to combo really well with Taunt too. And yeah, pretty nifty all things considered. And there you go. Okay, we got Juggernaut level 16. Our charge is going to do 6% of max health. Got Mortal Strike. Heroic Strike will reduce healing. And then Shattering Throw, which you can activate that to do tons of damage to shields. Haven't seen a huge use for the Shattering Throw yet. I was kind of thinking we could do the boss right here. Let's see if our allies come with us. Yeah, Illidan's coming too. Awesome. Not quite using our parry very effectively right there, unfortunately. You can parry bosses, you can parry turrets, forts, the core, all basic attacks like that. So yeah, bear that in mind. Level 16, I think the Juggernaut will probably, generally speaking, be the go-to for tank Varian, because if you pick up that Warbringer talent at level 4, you're going to be charging all the time. And every single time you charge, it's going to do a big chunk of bonus damage. It's going to be pretty nice for locking down the enemy front line. You can imagine like a somewhat tanky melee assassin, like Greymane, who has tons of max health. In fact, more max health than a Nubkeks, for example. You can imagine like just kind of helping to burst him down. And you actually provide quite a bit of lockdown and burst damage. You know, you charge onto them, hit them with your Heroic Strike, then you taunt them after the charge, press your W, activate that Overpower level 1 talent, get another Heroic Strike off, you know, you hit them with your Q during that as well, and then like coming out of the end of it, out of that CC combo, your charge isn't that far off cooldown, you charge them again for another 6% of their max health. You can see like that's quite a lot of damage that could come out from Varian with those combos, and it's really a very easy combo to pull off as well. That's the thing, he's got so many of his abilities are point and click. Makes them very easy to use. So yeah, I'm really interested to see Varian and how he does. He seems like he could be extremely effective. The keep goes down with a dramatic zoom as Smitch, not Snitch, which was good for us, but Smitch, not quite able to finish him off. And here we go, rotating down towards his tribute. You see I picked up the Mortal Strike here in this particular game. Again, it's PTR, so there's a lot of supports because we got damage Karazim in like every game, and he does a bit of healing. There's Illidans who do a lot of healing. Zeratul with some talents can do a lot of healing, and yeah, there you go. I mean, look at that. That's a lot of bursts coming out from Varian. And that's with, I would say, a somewhat suboptimal talent build, or, you know, just a not super synergized talent build, what I'm looking for here. There you go. You can see, like, put out a lot of CC. And that's really the strength of this Varian. I really am in love with Warbringer, as you can tell. However, unfortunately, this fight's not going too well for us. Stitch just wasn't there when we took the fight. He had warned us, I believe. We almost killed the Zeratul, but it's not to be. We fire off a couple of final hits, and we go down and die as well. So that was a little bit unfortunate. So the fight started off pretty well, but then it turned around pretty quick too. And looks like the enemy is going to pick up a tribute. It's 2 tributes to 2 tributes. And yeah, this one, it's not looking too good for our chances to grab this. Now, the enemy's probably doing our boss. Yeah, Stitches actually spots them. So, yeah, he's just going to leg it up top and try to grab the tribute. Probably would have legged it up there and tried to do it earlier. He's not going to be able to stop the boss. I mean, Illidan is respawning, but not quite quick enough, I don't think, to be able to stop that boss. Yeah, he wouldn't have been quick enough to stop the boss. So, better to just run up and grab the tribute. Zeratul arrives, but Illidan does have the hunt, right? So he should be able to get over there. Zooming in for the hunt. Here it goes. Boom. And there goes Zeratul. Bye-bye. This could be a pretty big fight. Yeah, here comes the enemy team. Nice cue from the Varian, interrupting both of them right there. And this is going to be a big old fight. By the way, in case you didn't know, Illidan has been reworked a little bit. Especially his W talents. Much more powerful now. Kelthus is killing the boss. Instead of coming to the team fight, he really should be here. He really should be here. We can kill the boss at the keep. We want to win this team fight first. It's over a curse. Curse point for everyone. So you're trying to get the perfect target for the stun. We catch the Thrall. Thrall goes down. Should have fired that stun off a little bit quicker. We're a bit slow, but yeah, no, not a huge deal. And there you go, getting tons of charge value off during that fight, and we turned it around. Illidan doing work. Tons of self-healing and sustain. There you go. You can get Vigilance at level 20. Varian has really cool level 20s as well. I picked up Demoralizing Shout in this one. We can activate this to reduce the damage our enemies do by 25% for 5 seconds, which is obviously massively powerful. Really a huge deal. You know, we can apply that just to the whole enemy team. Pretty much no problemo. Zeratul. Whoa! This is a VP. Panic VP to escape. He was fine though. He should have VP'd the core. Live to fight another day. Oh well. So we're parrying some stuff. And the core goes down before we can die, so that's nice. And there you go, guys. But yeah, the other level 20s you can get. You can also make your banners have a shorter cooldown. I think it takes 20 seconds off the cooldown, but more importantly, makes everyone take 50, or your allies get 50% additional healing while within the banner, which is insanely strong. I wasn't a huge fan of the Taunt upgrade. It seemed to reduce the cooldown of Taunt by a second with each basic attack, which seems a little bit underwhelming to me personally. The other two seem much more powerful, but I guess we'll see how stuff pans out. You can see in terms of the damage, like, we did pretty good. We weren't that far behind the Illidan or the Kelthus really, and consider how much CC you bring with the Warbringer, and easy CC to land. You bring slows with your Q as well, you bring taunts, and then you bring the banners and stuff. Like, I love it. I think Tank Varian looks really, really strong. My big concern, of course, is how he's going to fit into the current meta in terms of team comps. Can he fit in as a solo warrior, considering that you're pretty gimped in terms of your tanking capabilities until you pick up your level 10 heroic? So will he work as a solo warrior? I'm not sure. And then how does he fit into a double warrior composition? Yeah, I think he should fit in pretty well to a double warrior composition, but it's just the issue of then who's going to be the solo laner. It's a little bit tricky. So kind of curious about that. That's something to bear in mind going forwards. But the Tank Varian, it's been very unpopular in PTR. People are mostly running the dual wield one, but Tank Varian is pretty fantastic, so do check him out yourselves. I recommend it. He seems very, very powerful, and I would recommend the Warbringer talent with him. Probably overpower then at level 1, so you can get more damage out with heroic strikes. And yeah, you can do quite a lot of damage and also bring a lot of crowd control. So yeah, check him out. He's cool. Give it a like, guys, if you liked it. I'll see you all next time for more Here's the Storm. Bye-bye.